Greetings. Welcome to our third episode in our solo Runebearer experiment. In our last episode, Martin and Rorik traveled into the basement and were beset upon by a swarm of giant rats, which they successfully fought off. Rorik took the worst of it. um, and that's to be expected since he was out front and getting overwhelmed. Getting outnumbered in this game is actually fairly punishing. But quite a bit of that damage actually also came from Martin, who in panic threw an acid potion and hit Rorik on his bare arm. Certainly, Rorik would love to remediate that behavior and make a correction in Martin's combat situational awareness there, but they're not quite in a position to do that, as they are still in the basement, in danger, and the investigation is ongoing. So that leads us to our third episode here, which I like to call "What Happens in the Basement Stays in the Basement." We hope. So welcome. So before we move on and return to Rorik and Martin, I wanted to do some experience work here. So at the end of I made a mistake in that I called every one of these videos a session. I'm going to stop that and call them episodes. In Runebearer, a session really refers to a game session where you are all sitting at the table with your buddies, and then at the end of the session you leave and go home, and then in the next session you come back. And so some things are once per session you can do it, and once per session I give free checks, which I will. So what I wanted to do is take those first two episodes, call that a game session, award a free check to Martin and Rorik, and roll the rest of the experience. And so that's what I did. So episode 3, we're going to start a new session. We're going to award a free check and roll existing checks, primarily to show the experience system in action. There you go. So I have Martin and Rorik here. Let me pull up Roll20. Oh, did I close it? God. Okay. Hold on. So we have Roll20 up. So I have chat up here. God, that's gonna be so annoying to have this continuously go back and forth. That's too bad. That's too bad. I almost wish you could pin something to the front. So what I am going to do is, let's pull up Martin here. Oh, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull up Martin over here. There we go. So he's over there. We're going to move Roll20 out over here so that you have the chat. I do hate, my hate for Windows 11 continues. And what I want to do is I want to pull that over far enough that you can see the character sheet and see. There we go. Okay, fine, perfect, good enough. I think we can see chat and we can see the character sheet all at once. So here we are. So here's Martin, and so what happens is every session, if you use a skill, you get a check in it. We have indicated you've gotten a check with these little O's. And so we've got to check in several of the skills. Investigate, physician, right? When we treated the boy, the serving boy, or treated Rorik's arm, we got a check. But you don't get 2 checks a session in a skill. Only 1. We got to check in dodge, and you actually can get a check in your dodge. You can also get checks in your search if you don't have a search skill, but it's almost always better to use a search skill, as those skills have more general use. So what we will be looking to do is roll a d20 higher than this current base value of 8. So here's the base values. They're all 8s, except for dodge is a 9, of course. So we're going to roll a d20. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 d20 to roll, and we'll just take them in order. So for the first one, we'll roll a 9. That's investigate. So that converts. And so now we get an experience point. So I'll put a plus there. 17 converts. That's an experience point. Trade converts. Experience point. 19 on weapons swords. That converts. That becomes an experience point. The 8 in dodge is not greater than his current score. And so it gets erased. Done. He'll save the free check as opposed to putting it somewhere. Now the skills don't go up until you get some number of experience points in them. And I mean, I'm going to keep it at 5. So we have it tuned, our current game, we have it tuned very slow. And so it takes 5 XP to raise. And that's a lot, because you could think about that and go, well, holy crap, that's a month of play. You might get a skill, your skills to raise. And the answer is, yeah, that's sort of where we intended to go with this. Keep in mind that not all the checks will convert too, so it might be even longer. But that's the speed at which we've chosen to go. This should go probably a little faster, since we're not going to do as much in a given game session, given that these episodes are only an hour to an hour and a half long, typically. We'll see how it all goes. You can tune that as a GM with your own campaign. You can you could make it 3 checks, 3 experience to level up, and that would be actually quite a bit faster. So that's something. Or you can tune it by giving out more free checks. If you want players to have just more access to tweaking their own skills in their own way, you just give out more free checks at the end of a session. Give out 2 or 3. What I typically do is give out 1 every session, and then give out an extra couple when they complete some objectives. And like I said, we it's pretty much a stately leveling system. And that's what we have chosen. I've played this much faster, where it took only 3, and characters could go up much faster, much quicker. And again, I think you tune that to, well, how many game sessions or months do I want to plan for this? If it's just a year or 6 months or something, then yeah, if you want to see characters raise quickly, tune it down to more free checks, or tune the experience needed down. Similarly, if you want a 2-year campaign, that was the goal. Our goal for this current campaign was, no, it's going to go 2 years, man. And so if that's the case, then you don't want people reaching 20s or 30s in their and so on. You slow it down. That's where we're at. So that is Martin. He's gotten his experience. Now it's time for Rorik. And you can see Rorik here. He got a skill in his axes, maces, and picks, track, tactics, intimidate. He also got a dodge check and also a single free check. So we're going to roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 d20 again, and go down in order. So Rorik, you can see, rolls a 5. So this one does not convert. His intimidate does not get an experience point. He gets a 20 for tactics. So that's an experience point. And 11 is higher than 8. A 6 is not higher. So his weapon skill does not get an XP, but his dodge does. And again, bad luck is possible. So, I mean, that's something to keep in mind. We have never, I've never seen it be such that I was like, wow, that guy's really getting screwed. We've never really been in that position. So, that's it. So they got their experience. That doesn't take any time or whatever. So now they're back to it. Remember that this room is lit. We indicated this room was lit by lamps that the innkeeper had probably kept. And so what they're going to do is they're actually going to move through. And I think we don't need to be We don't need to be too clever. We don't need to be too clever. Let's roll a very simple track check for Rorik. Let's assume that this isn't super obvious, that maybe this is behind some bits, right? And so because it's behind, actually, I must have put it in the map layer, these tokens. Yeah. So, okay, that's fine. Oh, no. This is on, right, you can't move this crap because it's on. So there's this neat interaction between Dungeon Scroll, which I think the Roll20 people made, and Roll20, where you can draw a map on Dungeon. Which is one of the great bitches I have with Roll20 is it's hard, and most virtual tabletops, it's hard to instantly draw a thing, but you can use this Dungeon Scroll and you can draw the map just freehand like this. And so I did that, but I put the tokens down here. And what I should have done is put actual tokens down, right? From this free assets, you have objects, you have barrels and stuff. And then I would have been able to move them. These are on the Dungeon Scroll map, so I don't have access to these unless I go to the other program. And we won't do that right now. We'll just assume that this is all fine. So we're going to roll a very easy track check. So we'll roll 8. So that means that Rorik is 2 up on his skill there. And he rolls equal. So he rolls a 19 versus a 17. And so he can track these rats very easily back to, right? He looks around. He looks for, now the floor is stone. Maybe there are scratch marks. Maybe spore. The rats, of course, are not very hygienic. Scraps of food and so on. And they squeeze Bass behind this wall of barrels here, and they find the opening. And plus, I should note that Rorik gets a check. So I need to mark that. He actually got a check in track. So there you go. So there's his check. So they will squeeze through the opening here. Martin will be behind. Martin's probably carrying the light source. So they will grab one of these lamps from the wall and they will continue forth through the fairly narrow gap here. And we won't put them in hexes just yet. That's not necessary. And, you know, certainly wondering what has occurred. It looks like this is probably, the walls of this are a combination of probably dug and then just naturally occurring with water coming in or some such. Don't know. Probably dug, though. Probably dug out. Not by human hands either. Probably just, it seems like maybe something is burrowing. And like I said, maybe there is some of these, maybe some of these, maybe the entrance to this cave complex. It's not that big, by the way. It's pretty tiny, all said and done. Maybe the entrance to this cave complex is sort of naturally occurring with some sort of, you know, water intrusion into the ground, which is opened up, and then that started to spread, and the rats maybe got in there and dug through. Don't know. Not a geologist. But that's sort of where we're going to go, move these guys up. And there's nothing to see in these corridors. We'll say that there are rats scurrying about underfoot, little ones, normal sized ones. And Martin's probably like, ugh. If he wants us to exterminate these, it's going to take some kind of alchemical solution to some kind of gas bomb or some kind of repellent, perhaps, that we could put up near the wall of the basement. And Rorik probably is not worried about the little ones. He knows that it's very, very likely that something unfortunate is going to be lurking around one of these corners. Yeah, so he's like, we'll worry about the little ones once we figure out where the big ones are coming from. And Martin is probably just glad that he's still talking to him. Martin's probably like, "Oh, hey, big guy, I'm glad you. How's the arm, by the way?" He decides actually to not say that. He sees the bandaged arm, probably a little seepy, maybe, and he's like, I don't think I'll ask. So so they will then approach simply this first quote unquote chamber here. Okay, so what I have, so this is full disclosure. So I literally have just a random table of things that are going to be in each of these rooms. So I actually don't know what is going to be any of these places. So I do think. Yeah, I think, you know what? I think for the first one, since I just moved them up like a dummy. So they're moving up, right? So let's see if anything's in here that then they need to be concerned about. So we do have, okay, so here, it looks like there's a bunch of nests. Give me a second. So I am going to actually put, I am going to put, because I didn't know what was in here, right? Oh no, I don't want maps. But I could put like sort of quote unquote nests of so here's some rocks maybe. We'll use bushes as nests. I like that. I like using bushes maybe as sort of makeshift nests. Maybe they're piles of um, fur and hay and otherwise garbage effect essentially. I'll put a couple down here. Uh, I like the idea that maybe there's not gonna put. Oh, actually, sure. I'll stick with that for now. Let's move this over here. We'll put a few more bushes out. So I apologize, but again, since I don't know what's in these, don't necessarily know what's in any given room at any given time, and I am sort of vaguely testing. That we keep hitting the other one. I don't mind that. Let's grab this one. All right. And unfortunately, or fortunately, let's. So these guys enter, and we're going to roll on. They don't initially see anything, so there's nothing specifically here at the moment in the immediate room. And we're going to roll for both of their searches. So that is a 10, which is track for our guy, for Rurik, and 9 for Martin. So we're going to make a skill roll for Rurik first. -3, so he's going to actually fail. And then Martin is going to also fail. So they walk in, and they are very much, oh my, it's right, it's quiet here. What the hell? So they don't hear anything. They don't see anything. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 there. They'll check one of these first. 2. I don't know why they would go to the middle first. That sounds. I'll tell you what. We'll be smart about this, and we will. I mean, Rurik will go to the left, and we will check to the left, right? And he's like, Martin, keep a look. Bring the light over, but keep a lookout. So Martin will keep a lookout, and he will sort of. Oops, I should lock. Can I lock this? I'll lock that placement. Oop. I mean, that is super damn annoying, is really what that is. Okay. That is super, super annoying. That this thing's placement is so possibly big. So I'm going to have to shrink it a little bit. Let's take both of these, and we will group them. And then I hate to say it, we're going to take this, copy it. Can I move to a layer? Change layer. Change it to the map layer. Oh my gosh. Okay. And that's what needs to happen. So we're going to put this here. I will increase the size back to approximately what it was. There we go. Change the map layer. So let me take all of these. And I apologize. I will pause. I will be back in a second. All right, so we put everything on the map layer. So that's good because now I can move Rurik. So Rurik will move over here and check this. Martin is sort of just keeping the light up so that he can see. And he does. He sees, like, right, fur piles and so on, nests back here. Mostly for small rats, but obviously also housing the big rats, right? So it looks like maybe there's a dozen or so big rat nests, not necessarily just back here, but in all of these. So Rurik is checking. As he is checking, though, all of a sudden there is a burst of activity, and we are going to have 3 rats burst out from behind this giant rats, of course. The normal rats wouldn't be. They're going to burst out from behind this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Martin does not get any reaction. He is surprised. So he gets no. Now, luckily, their move's only 5. If their move was 6, they would be able to, at least one of them would be able to charge him and attack, and he would be at a minus because he is surprised. Now, the rats do have another option, but I don't think I'm going to take it. So you're allowed. So their move is 5, which means their full move is 5. That takes a full action to move, and so that's what they did. They could also sprint, and sprint would be a double move. And that would reduce their defense, and they would be banking on winning initiative next round. Because otherwise, their defense would be nothing. Very, very low base defense, which is a 7. I mean, it's not. And they could do that. Maybe that's the more interesting option, right? Desperately, Martin is like all of a sudden surrounded by rats and super, super desperate. Sort of a risky move on the rats' part. Let's, you know what? You can tell. I'm like, is that the way to go? No, you know what? We're going to do this. If they win initiative, they'll be able to attack him anyway. There's no need to be up next to him and give him the option to smash them. So we're not going to make that's a bad move on the rats' part. They're not dumb. They move up to here. And now it is initiative. So we have 3 rats in the order. I do apologize if you're not like a fan of combat, that there's going to be this adventure is fairly combat-y, I think, ultimately. So let me delete these, and then we're going to give add a turn, rat 1, add a turn, rat 2, add a turn. I do like their turn tracker in Roll20. I do think that it's reasonably functional. So we're going to roll for Rurik. So we're going to roll 5d12. Rurik and Martin are first, and then the rats in order. So Rurik is a +2, Martin's a +1. +2 is 7 for Rurik. +1 for Martin is a 6. Rats 1, 2, and 3 are 3, 3, and 2 in that order. And now we have Rurik is first. So Martin yelps out, Rurik rats. Rurik will go 1, 2, 3, 4. So he can half move because his move is 8. And by the way, that's on his token. The green is their move. I put that there. And then, of course, their initiative is in the blue, which you almost never need to roll initiative. I don't know if I have any other good thing to put there. So half of his move is 4. His weapon is out already, as was Martin's. Martin has the lamp in one hand. You can't see what I'm doing. I'm holding my lamp hand up and my sword hand out. Martin is like that. Rurik goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And he will charge up and smash rat 1, hoping to save his buddy from getting overwhelmed. Even though his buddy threw acid on him. which he's still pissed about. I am pissed about. Friendly fire always sucks. Let's do a skill roll. So Martin is at an 11. These rats, I believe, still have a defense of 9. Okay, -1. So -1, that is a gear check on Rurik. It's his first, though. So we rolled a 1, but still that's going to hit because that is a 12 versus an 11. That is a hit. And Rurik can do some big damage, but he does not this time. He does 7 points in the 8. That's not a ton of damage, unfortunately, to the rat. So 7 points puts him at 9. That is a wound, though, because their wound number is only 4. In fact, it's still even a 2-die wound, which shows how weak these darn things are. I sometimes steal the rules from 4th edition D&D for minions and just say, this guy takes 1 hit to kill, or this guy takes 2 hits to kill, unless you do more than X, in which case or a wound, in which case he's a 1-hit monster. So I also have the idea of minion rules, which are like I don't know if would be in Runebearer. I sort of have them in, as optional rules. They're lifted from 4th edition D&D, and other games have minion rules as well. I didn't want to do it for this one because I wanted to go through the combat mechanics. And the number of combatants we have in these combats are usually not that large because there's 2 of us. In our table game, I have anywhere between 6 to 9 people show up any given week, and they might have NPCs with them and followers, and then the monsters. So I had a 20 on 30 combat a couple nights ago, a couple sessions ago. So we made good use of sort of abstracting some of the hit points away so that there was still a threat on the board and the characters still needed to sort of, deal through but we weren't tracking. I wasn't tracking 50 people's hit points, which would have been insanity. So Rorik comes up, smashes this guy. That is a 2-die wound because if you remember, the rats have a 4 wound threshold, and every 3 points after the fact gives you an extra die. The first die is still relevant, and if it's a 1 or a 2, that's a graze. So we're going to roll 2d12 for wounds, and he gets a 5 and an 11. That's probably taking this guy out. Let's take a quick look at the combat chart. In the chest or the body for an 11 is what we're going to look at. So 11 is winded 2, bleed 1, impair 1, shock 2. So that's 2d6 extra damage right off the bat. And then because we don't track fatigue on monsters, I'm going to do more damage from winded. So let's roll the damage for fun. And if it doesn't take them out, well, 2d6 plus 2d4 for winded. Now, winded on a character does not do that. Winded on a PC it gives you fatigue immediately and increases your fatigue number. Increase on a character which I'm not tracking fatigue. I rolled 2d4. I'm not sure I want to roll 2d4. I might just go, it's 2 points each. Like I'm changing this rule sort of as we go here. Just to sort of make what's the best rule. So I'm going to put on my notes. Actually, I'll put on these notes. There you go. So we'll actually hold on one second. We get some notes here, right? So head to next chamber. Nests. And then rats. 3 rats. Surprise. Party. And spring out of a hidden alcove, right? And then we're going to put winded for non-PCs. 1d4 per, or just 2 points. I'll just put that there. We're going to do 1d4. So we're going to roll 2d6 plus 2d4. That's 14 more damage. That rat is... He is... Whatever. His body gets crushed, and he is either dead or certainly unconscious or whatever. But I think if you lose hit points due to shock, you are dead. He's dead. So Rorik makes good on his first attack. Martin is going to hold his action. So he will actually go. So he's going to hold his action and wait and see. If a rat comes up to him, he will then try to preempt the rat and swing at it first. So he is actually holding. So his initiative goes down to a 3, effectively. Because he's waiting for these 3s to go. But I don't want to put him necessarily. Yeah, he moves down in the initiative order. Rat 2 is going to go first. Oh, rat 1 is out already. Done. So rat 2 is going to charge up, and you know what? I don't think there's any reason why the rat wouldn't go straight for him. And we're going to actually put his bar below. And so normally what would happen is we would roll initiative again. Now Martin's initiative is a 3 for sure because he waited in the order. When you're trying to preempt someone, you would roll off against them. But because Martin has a longer weapon than the rat does, he does get to preempt and go first. And he's still within his front. He can still attack him. If the rat, so yeah, so absolutely. So Martin's going to take a shot first. We're going to roll a skill roll for Martin here. And it's pretty even up because, -1. -1 and gear check for poor Martin here. So that's 2 gear checks for Martin. We didn't roll, and Rourke didn't roll tactics. Damn it. Foolish me, foolish me. It takes a half action to do a tactics check. Rourke should have rolled it. But he would not have been able to charge up and then attack as he did if he would have done that. So I think the trade-off for a tactics versus this is fine. What we're going to do is Martin, will he use an yes, you know what? Martin's going to use an inspiration. He's like, look, we've got him. Let's use them. So I'm going to mark off an inspiration, and you can use inspiration or your tactics points to either add to your roll or to force a re-roll. We're going to add to our roll by 1, making it a 2. So we rolled an 11 now, and the rat rolled an 11. So Martin hits. Did we fix Martin's damage to have? Yeah, to have a big old line on it. Yeah, there we go. Because I like the lines. It helps me see what's what. There's Martin's damage. He does 5 points to the leg. So as the rat rears up to lunge at him, he chops at that little foreleg there, doing 5 points of damage. That is still a wound on an unarmored rat with a wound threshold of 4. But a single die. And it's a 7. So a 7 in the leg, we're going to say. These are all, on a bipedal, these are all legs. Even though we rolled a 4. On a quadruped, I'm sorry. My fault. What did he roll? He rolled a 7. What's a 7? Crippled. All right. So he is crippled 1. What crippled means is he takes a -1 to his defenses and a -1 move. So his move is now a 4. His move is a 4. And technically his defenses now go to 8 and 6. This guy. Which, I mean, I don't want to do that permanently because I'm going to reuse this rat token over and over and over. So we're going to leave it as is. But we'll note that he is crippled. So he's -1 to everything. But he's not out of the fight. And so he attacks Rourke immediately back. And he is going to hit, Martin. He attacks Martin back. And Martin's defense is only a 9 because Martin is not a good swordsman. And so first off, this rat is now on Martin because that's their special ability. And the rat does damage to Martin. The rat hits 6 points in the 7. We don't take the pierce because there is no need to pierce. At some point, I'm going to learn Roll20 macro. As I Google it in front of your eyes. Inline looks like 2 brackets. So let's fix a macro and see. So I will pause. Let me pause here. That didn't work. I will fix those macros at some point. So we did 6. I'm sorry, and I accidentally cleared the chat log. So there you go. That ain't great. So I didn't roll again. I did roll again, but I didn't intend to roll again. He hit him for 6 in the chest. That's going to be 4 points of damage to Martin. So he's down to 23. Okay. And now we get Rat 3. Rat 3 is going to charge up. He's going to attack Rorik. He's going to miss Rorik. He's rolling well under what he needs to. And that's the end of round 1. I like that better. Let's do that. And then we will delete this one. Done. So this is round 2. And Rorik is first, actually. So Rorik's going to take a shot. He will actually take a shot on. So he's going to roll his tactics against a DL8. I don't know what his tactics is. Let's take a quick look at our buddy here. His tactics skill is a 9 versus an 8. So he rolls a 13 versus an 11. So he'll get a tactics chip to then use. Oh, that is whoa, what is that? No, I just want a little teeny thing, little rock. We'll give him a tree stump there. There we go. That's what you want. And we will call that tactics. So we have 1 tactics chip there. Done. So Rorik is going to. He will attack the one here on his buddy Martin, and go there. So he has an 11 versus the creature's 9 defense. He does hit, and he's going to roll his damage. And Rorik gets 8 points of damage in the back leg. So this thing's hanging off of Martin's shoulder, and he smacks at it. And he's going to do 8. So that's going to drop it to 3 in any case. And that's a 2-die wound. And he hit it in the hind leg, yeah. 8 and 7 in the leg. Combat. Legs, 8 and 7. Crippled or impair. Impair is more a broad encompassing. Crippled reduces his defense more and his move again. You can be crippled 2, crippled 3, and so on. Impair would reduce his attack. Crippled will stop him from moving. I'm going to impair him. Instead. So we impair him. So he is crippled and impaired. Technically, your initiative drops too when you're crippled. Keep that in mind. So technically, his initiative now becomes like a 1 or some such for every level of crippling. So there you go. He does not lose his turn entirely. Oh wait, we screwed that up so bad. Okay, that was bad. Rorik has gone. Martin needs to go right now. I mean, even though this rat might leave, we're going to try to finish him off. Our skill is 9. His defense now is a 7, but he's crippled and impaired, so that makes it a 5. Oh my god, did we still miss him? So 9 plus 3 is 12. His defense is 5, 14. The rat does manage to scurry around on his right. He's trying to smash at it or whatever. The rat, he misses. And I'm not going to spend another inspiration to get that done. Rat 3 is going to attack Rorik at a -1. That's going to miss because Rorik's defense is 11 versus the rat's attack of, what, 7? And I think this rat, too, has to roll to stick around. I'll give it 50-50. If it rolls a, well, no. 9, 10, 11, 12, it stays. It stays. It stays. It sees an opening in... Oop, I don't roll damage yet. Hold on. That's not okay. Skill roll. Oh, but he's not going to hit. He is not going to hit him. Martin is like slapping it, right? Trying to get this thing. Now, I'm not exactly sure how to. Like, maybe he swipes at it or something and knocks it to the ground momentarily, but the rat, with this tenacity, almost as though, right, he is almost like he's fighting desperately. Just jumps right back on him because he's still on him. Like nothing they did makes it so he comes off, right? So that is the end of round 2, and that brings us to round 3. I think Rorik attacks the one on him. And he will turn on his fight with wild abandon. So Rorik is now FWA, which means that he takes a -2 to all his defenses, but gets +2 damage, +1 armor value. So he goes berserk. He's going to hit the rat. He's going to do 12, and that's why 13, 14 points of damage to this rat, knocking him down to 2. 4, 7, 10, 13. It's a 4-die wound. This is sort of silly, but we're going to do it anyway because rolling wounds is pretty fun. He goes 10, 3, and 5 in the 8. That is going to kill the rat because in the chest, a 10 is going to do 1 shock at least and 2 winded, and that's going to do enough damage to take this thing out. So rat 3 slumps to the, right, is slammed to the ground and slumps down, unmoving. And now it's Martin's turn. Martin's going to take a shot again. This thing is -2 defense. Martin does actually hit it. Good for him. Doing 7 points, and that's enough to take it out. So we should keep in mind here. So our 2 heroes did indeed roll on their combat skills. Martin rolled his swords, as did Rorik rolled his weapon skill. Neither of them rolled dodge, I don't think, because neither of them had to defend to the point where they were dodging. And so there you go. No damage taken that time. The difference between 3 and 5 rats is actually huge, strangely enough, because, and the fact that we took one out immediately really made it 2-2. And one-on-one, these rats just they don't stack up. They're not supposed to. So no damage there. The group, I imagine that they're going to go check out where these rats came from because, in case there are more. So I think Rorik moves over there sort of in a hurry, Martin close behind, and they, push or smash through or whatever. I don't know that these are probably just rough terrain or whatnot, piles of they're obviously high enough to block line of sight, though. Well, okay. So we have to sort of hack our way through. There are I'm picturing piles of rocks and mud and fur and various wood chips that have been gnawed off of the barrels and so on, and right little pieces that have been sort of uh, um, almost like they're excavating this crap here, right? Almost like they're taking wood and crap from here and then going over here and using it to help build their nests, along with sort of the mud which is naturally occurring and the rocks which naturally occur and so on. And so it does take a little bit of doing to get through, but Rurik does manage to sort of get through. And the rats have little tunnels through these things that are just big enough for them. And so what they find in a corner of the dark cave, there is a pile of animal bones, piled and arranged in such a way as to suggest this is a place of worship, complete with offerings of small animal carcasses. So smaller animals, squirrels, maybe. You know what? Maybe there's a cat there, a dead cat, unfortunately. So let's put some kind of quote unquote statue there. I mean, that's not really a good statue. It's a dude statue. I mean, there's not a lot of good bits there, obviously. Here, so what we'll do is we'll take this quote unquote mirror, and I will take a rat. And this is way too long for this for this interaction. I'm sorry, but now I want to make a rat thing. And I'll shrink this down. And we will group them. And now we have a rat statue or a statue of some sort. And so there's the statue, but there's also and a bunch of offerings, which include baubles, small animal like corpses, so cats and maybe some insects and squirrels and so on, all arrayed around this as though they're offerings, and quite a few, like 11 of the babies, like the naked blind baby giant rats, right? They're not tiny like little rats. They are football-sized babies, which sends a shudder up through probably um both of our heroes. And I mean, they obviously they're going to have to stomp these things out. They're going to have to kill these guys. So they will destroy the rat nest, kill the young, so that there's not a. Can you imagine 11 of these things coming at you at once? So they smash, kill, right? Quick thrust through all the babies to get rid of them, and then they will search here the baubles, because there are some coins and a tiny ornamental stone. So I'll put that in the game notes here real quick. So let's go to the game notes. Let's put this in parentheses. This isn't really part of the game as much as just my thoughts. The rats were guarding a pile of animal bones shaped into a crude altar, we'll say. and a nest of 11 young giant rats. Rorik and Martin kill the young. We cannot have these things, so we have to get rid of these and search. Finding. So what do they find? So they find a small ornamental stone. Which I don't know how much that's worth, but we will figure that out. And some shiny bits, right? So let's roll on the shiny bits table. I actually don't have a shiny bits table. I need to like I need some a table of random pieces parts. Let's say that they have been quietly going and stealing, maybe even up in the common room, coins that they find on the floor, and they've been doing this for some time. And let's roll. Let's just say 3d6 silver and maybe 66 bits. Now bits are worth almost nothing. So 11 silver and 21 bits. Right? So that's effectively 13 silver. It's not a ton. These guys are not making a ton of cash here off these rats. But the small ornamental stone might actually be worth something. And we'll have to roll on we'll roll on some table. I'll make up a table for that. Right? Make up a table for the stone's value. So there you go. That's what they find in there. Let's put. So I will put the 11 silver and 21 bits here. And I'm not going to count the weight of that yet. So 160, pretty much 160 coins is 1 kilogram. And so we just keep that in mind. If you have to carry 1,000 coins back from the dungeon, that's quite a bit. That might have an effect on your encumbrance. So with nothing taken, they are not allowed to shake off, right? There's no damage taken, so they cannot shake off. They can't heal again, so there's not allowed to heal Rorik's other old wound. That's not how that works. So best they can do is sort of move on. This tactics chip goes away. I'm gonna where do I'll put it. I mean, I'll put it here for now. Just it's out of play. So Rorik is going to head back down. Martin will obviously follow with the torch. And I think they're going to go. So they're going to come to here. Now I know why they use the circular. Now I know why they use those stupid circular tokens. Those circular tokens because you don't have to face them. I want counters with facing because facing is important in combat. But when I'm not in combat, I just want them to move. If that would be okay, guys. So I think Rorik is going to have Martin stand back momentarily, and he will sneak up to here to see. And there's not there's not that much light though, but I think Rorik does have sneak. He does have sneak, so he is going to roll up here, and he'll look. Martin is going to stand back just enough so that there's not going to be a ton of light in here. Um, oh my. Okay. 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 That I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. We're gonna go with the dice. Is what we're gonna do. Uh, so okay, what we're gonna do is it's been an hour. We are going to call it there. I hate to leave you after I say oh my, and now I'm gonna leave you because I'm a jerk. So we're gonna leave you here, and I'm going to stop this particular episode, and we will catch up with this next episode. I need to circle what I rolled here to make sure. I don't even know why I put this on here. But we're gonna go with it because I did, and we will talk about that next episode and see what the hell has happened. What did Rorik see? Oh, by the way, he is not fighting with Wild Abandon right now. Oh, Martin got. Oh, and I'm sorry, Martin took a hit. Martin actually can shake off. I apologize. Let me shake off before the next fight here. His toughness is only 8. I think he only gets to shake off a D4. I'm pretty sure. Let's check real quick. An 8 is only a D4, so Martin gets to shake off a D4. So let me roll 1D4 because that was not wound damage. He shakes off 3, and he's up to 26 of 27, and he will probably not spend any time or waste any resources healing that 1 point. So that 1 point actually becomes quote unquote lasting injury until unless he can maybe deal with it afterward. Who knows? Maybe if he leaves that like that, maybe that becomes infected. Ooh, scary. He'll treat it after the after they get out of here, though, right? So we're gonna leave you there on a cliffhanger, I suppose. Thank you very much. I will talk to you in a. I'll talk to you in a moment here. Well, not a moment for you, but maybe a moment for me. Man, I want to see what the hell happens. So we'll see you next episode, guys. Thank you.